There is a little velvet box in a dresser drawer in a lot of American homes, and inside it is a single strand of white pearls. Your mother wore them to church. Her mother wore them before that, and somewhere along the way, the whole family quietly decided they were costume. Just a nice old fake, the kind every woman used to own. That strand might be worth $20, or it might quietly be worth more than every other thing in the house combined. 10 strands of pearls tonight. Some have crossed the auction block for hundreds, a few for figures that would stop your heart cold, and the one you are most likely to already own is waiting at number 1. Before the night is over, I'll show you how to test a pearl with nothing but your own front tooth. Keep a good lamp close by, because you're going to want to look at a few small things up close. A quick word before we start. This is general information to help you identify and enjoy your pieces, not a formal appraisal. Values move with condition, the market, and the day. Anything you believe is valuable, have it looked at in person before you sell it. Here's the truth most folks never hear. With pearls, value does not live in the word pearls. It lives in 3 things: whether they're real at all, whether they're natural or cultured, and what is stamped on the little clasp at the back. Get those 3 right, and a plain strand of beads quietly outprices every diamond in the drawer. So let me be honest with you the way a real dealer would. My name is Walter Ashford. For 40 years, I've bought and sold at estate sales, farm auctions, and house clearances across the Midwest. And I'm a dealer, not a certified appraiser, and that is exactly why I'll tell you the plain truth. Your strand is almost certainly not the natural pearl pendant that once hung at Marie Antoinette's throat, the one that crossed a Sotheby's block in Geneva for $36 million. Only a handful of pearls on earth live in that air. But the gap between a $20 costume strand and a real one worth thousands hides in plain sight, and you can learn to see it tonight. And one honest thing up front, because it matters more with pearls than almost anything. I cannot tell you what your strand is from a screen. Nobody can. What I can do is hand you the checks I run at the table. The name on the front is the story they tell you. The mark on the bottom is the truth. Turn it over. Read the bottom. Believe what it tells you. With a strand of pearls, the bottom is the clasp, and the pearls themselves will tell you the rest, if you know how to ask. Here's why this matters, and why that box is in your drawer at all. For most of the last 100 years, a strand of pearls was the gift a woman got for a milestone. A graduation, a wedding, a 50th birthday. Most were modest even the day they were bought, and plenty were honest fakes. That is why nearly every family has one, and why nobody looks twice at it. But some of those boxes go back further than anyone remembers, to when the only pearls that existed came from a wild oyster, one in thousands. If you were told your pearls were just costume, that was not carelessness on your part. Nobody ever taught you the tooth test, or how to read a clasp. Tonight, somebody will. Number 10. The plastic imitation strand. Let's start at the bottom and be honest, because most of what's in those velvet boxes lives right here. For most of the last century, dime stores sold plastic beads dipped in a pearly coating by the millions. Your first thought picking one up is that it feels lovely and looks the part, and that instinct is exactly the trap. Here is your test tonight, and it's the most useful thing you'll learn all evening. Take one pearl and rub it gently, along the biting edge of your front tooth. A plastic or glass fake feels perfectly smooth, slick, like a little bead of glass. A real pearl, and I'll explain what real means in a moment, feels faintly gritty, sandy, like very fine sandpaper. That grit is the real thing. A plastic strand, gritty or not, is honestly worth a few dollars, and I won't dress that up. The loss I see most often here runs the other way, though. A family assumes the good strand is one of these and never bothers to check. Number 9. The glass imitation, and the name you'll see most is Majorica, a better class of fake, and it fools a lot of people. Majorica is a Spanish company that has coated fine, opaque glass beads with layer after layer of pearl essence since the early 1900s. On the island of Majorca, they are heavier than plastic, they last, and a good vintage Majorica strand in its box has sold in the $75 to $150 range, a bit more with a silver or gold clasp. Fair enough. That's a real little value. But hear me clearly. It is still a man-made bead. It is not a pearl. On your tooth a Majorica runs smooth, or only faintly, evenly rough from the coating. The tell here is the drill hole. Look where the string passes through under a bright light. A glass fake often shows a wider hole, the coating chipped or ridged around the rim. Fame is not value. The Majorica name is real, but it will never be a natural pearl. Number 8. The cultured Akoya strand. And now we've crossed over into real pearls. This is the classic white strand most people picture. Uniform, round, bright. Around 1916, a Japanese man named Kokichi Mikimoto worked out how to coax a saltwater oyster into growing a pearl around a tiny seed bead, and the cultured pearl was born. It is a real pearl, grown by a real oyster. It simply had help getting started. On your tooth, an Akoya feels gritty, the real grit. Run your fingers down the strand for your second test. A good pearl strand is knotted in silk between every pearl, a tiny knot after each one, so they don't scatter if the string breaks, and don't rub each other raw. A cheap costume strand almost never bothers with those knots. A classic Akoya strand, 6 to 7 millimeters, has sold in the $250 to $500 range, and a larger 7 to 8 millimeter one from around $800 up past $2,000. Modest money, but real money, and far more than the melt on the clasp. Number 7. The freshwater cultured strand. This is the pearl that fills the jewelry counters today. Grown by the thousands in freshwater mussels, mostly in China, often not quite round, sometimes with a soft dimple or an off shape. That abundance is why they're gentle on the wallet. An honest freshwater strand has sold from around $50 up to $200 or $300, occasionally more for large, round, high luster ones. Your test is the shape and surface. Hold them to the lamp and look. Freshwater pearls often show tiny ripples and are rarely twins of each other. That imperfection is proof they came from a living thing. This is the strand most likely to be the modest one in your box, and if it is, wear it and enjoy it for exactly what it is. Number 6. The large cultured strand with a gold clasp. Here the ground shifts. Take a fine Akoya, grow it to 8.5 or 9 millimeters with deep mirror luster, knot it, and hang a proper 14 or 18 karat gold clasp on the end, and you have a strand that is sold in the $3,000 to $6,000 range. At the very top, the finest matched Akoya, what the trade calls Hanadama, has brought $5,000 to $10,000 a strand. Turn the clasp over for your test. If you find a gold mark there, 14K, 18K, 585, 750. Somebody once thought these pearls worth mounting properly, and that is a signal worth its weight. Now, before we get to the top 5, there's something almost nobody stops to realize. The pearls worth real money never announce themselves. They sit in a plain box, looking exactly like the fakes beside them. What actually decides the value is a small handful of things you can learn. Whether it grits on your tooth, whether it's knotted, what the clasp is made of, and above all, whether it's natural or cultured. Those things are learnable. You've already learned 3 of them tonight. Hold on to that, because it runs straight to the top of this list. Number 5. The signed Mikimoto strand. Remember the man who invented the cultured pearl. His company became the gold standard, and here is the most important thing I can tell you about it. On a Mikimoto strand, the pearls themselves are not signed. The only place the name lives is the clasp. So turn that clasp over and look closely. A genuine Mikimoto clasp carries the trademark, the letter M inside the outline of an oyster shell, or on some pieces, just a deep, clean M, with a gold mark like K14 or K18 beside it. That mark is the difference between a nice pearl strand and a signed one, and the signature carries a real premium. A vintage Mikimoto Akoya strand has sold from a few $100s for a modest one, up to $2,000 and beyond for a fine one with a gold clasp. When Mamie Eisenhower's Mikimoto necklace crossed the block at Christie's, its clasp was stamped, plainly, with an M and K14. Read the clasp. But hear the honest part. Convincing fakes of that clasp exist. So, a signed clasp is a reason to get it seen, not a certificate on its own. Number 4. The South Sea and Tahitian strands. And now we're in serious money. These are the big cultured pearls. South Sea in white, cream and gold from the warm waters off Australia and the Philippines, Tahitian in the natural dark colors, silver, deep green, and the peacock shade collector's chase. They are large, 10 millimeters and up, with thick nacre and a glow you can spot across a room. A cultured South Sea or Tahitian strand has sold from a few $100s for a modest one, up to $10,000 and past it, for a large, well-matched strand of top color and luster. Your test is size and color together. If your strand is noticeably big, heavy, and a natural gray, green, or gold rather than a dyed-looking flat black, you are holding something worth having looked at. And here is my one honest scar. Early in my 40 years, I let a strand of dark pearls walk right past me at a house clearance, because I assumed they were dyed costume beads. They weren't. I think about that strand more than I'd like to admit. Don't make my mistake. Number 3. Number 3. The antique natural saltwater pearls. And this is where the fortune lives. Before Mikimoto, before 1920 or so, every pearl on earth came from a wild oyster, by pure chance. Roughly 1 pearl in 10,000 shells. No seed bead inside, no farm, no help. That is what natural means, and it is staggeringly rare. A fortune spent over decades to assemble, which is why they turn up in the oldest family boxes and almost nowhere else. Here is the honest limit of every test I've given you. Your tooth will tell you a pearl is real. It will not tell you it's natural rather than cultured. Only an X-ray at a proper gem laboratory can look inside and confirm there is no seed bead at the core. So, if a strand grits on your tooth, shows no bead at a worn drill hole, and came down through a family from before the 1920s, you do not sell it, you do not clean it, you take it to a gem lab and have it X-rayed. Comparable antique, natural pearl necklaces have sold across an enormous range. Edwardian pieces have averaged in the low thousands, fine ones have realized tens of thousands, and at the very top, a 4-strand natural pearl necklace crossed Christie's in New York for over $5 million, and a 3-strand of 119 natural pearls, estimated at $200,000 to $300,000, sold for $2.3 million. Now let me be honest, the way a real dealer should. Those millions are the ceiling, not a promise on any strand you find. But the floor for a real, confirmed natural strand is thousands, not dollars, and that is the whole point. Number 2. The antique natural pearl and diamond necklace. Take those same rare natural pearls and set them with old diamonds in platinum or gold the way the Edwardian and Victorian jewelers did around 1900 to 1915, and you have the finest thing that turns up in an American family box. The clasp alone is often a small work of art, a cluster of diamonds. Comparable pieces have sold for real fortunes. An Edwardian natural pearl and diamond sautoir from around 1910 has been offered at more than $26,000. And pendants of that era in the several thousands. Your test is the clasp and the mounting together. Platinum, mill-grain edges like tiny beading along the metal, old rose-cut or European-cut diamonds, and pearls that grit on the tooth. That combination is a reason to stop everything and get it in front of a specialist. The loss I see most often here is the saddest of all. A jeweler quotes the family scrap value on the gold and diamonds, ignores the pearls entirely, and a museum-grade natural necklace leaves the house for the price of its metal. And number 1, the strand nearly every one of you already owns, sitting in a velvet box in a dresser drawer right now. The one the whole family long ago decided was costume. Here is the reframe, and it's the honest one. Most of those strands are exactly what the family thinks. A modest, cultured, or freshwater strand, or an honest fake, worth somewhere between a nice lunch and a few $100s. Fame is not value. Nearly every woman of a certain generation owned a strand of pearls, and that very commonness is why the ordinary ones aren't worth a fortune. The whole world already has one. I will not inflate that for you, but that is exactly why the real one hides so well, in the same plain box, looking the same as all the rest. And you now hold the 4 checks that separate them. The tooth, the knots, the drill hole, the clasp. Run them tonight, and if that strand grits, and it's knotted, and the clasp is real gold, and it came down from before your grandmother's time, you take it to a gem lab before you take it anywhere else. Let me tell you about a young woman I'll call Genevieve. Her grandmother had passed, and the family was dividing what little there was. In a drawer was a flat velvet box, worn soft at the corners, and inside it, a single strand of white pearls, everyone called Grandma's costume beads. Nobody wanted them. Genevieve took them only because she remembered her grandmother's hand at her own collar. On a whim, she rubbed one along her front tooth, and it grated, faintly, like sand. The clasp, when she turned it over, carried a small worn gold mark and a cluster of tiny stones. She was the one who couldn't let those beads go to the 50-cent table. That instinct was right the whole time. A memory doesn't get appraised. But sometimes, when you finally turn it over, it turns out the memory was carrying the fortune too. Now let me be honest the way I promised. Most strands in most boxes are modest, and I would be lying to tell you otherwise. I will never tell you your specific pearls are worth a number from a screen I cannot see, and with pearls, I mean that more firmly than with anything, because the one thing that decides everything, natural or cultured, can only be settled by an X-ray in a proper laboratory. So anything that grits on your tooth has a real clasp and carries any age you have looked at in person by a gemologist or a gem lab before you sell it, clean it, or restring it. Because here is who profits from your not knowing. The buyer who offers one flat, friendly price for grandma's old pearls, knowing he only wants the one strand in the lot. The estate sale table where a real strand sits in a bowl marked $5 because whoever priced it saw only old beads. And the online listing where somebody guesses costume and lets a natural strand go for the price of a pizza. None of that is a crime. It just counts on you never running the tooth test. So, here's the short list to carry back to that box. The tooth for grit, the strand for knots, the drill hole for chipped coating, and the clasp for a gold mark or a Mikimoto M. If you're watching this on the television and can't write fast enough, take a picture of the screen right now and you'll have the whole list in your hand at the drawer. So tell me down in the comments, what's the oldest piece in your house and whose hands did it come off of? Your mother's? A grandmother's? An estate you helped clear? I read everyone, and the story of who owned it is half the value. Next time, we do exactly this for the brooches and the old rings sitting in the same jewelry box. The little pins the family calls junk, and the one stone nearly everyone mistakes for glass. So before you clear a single shelf, before you take the first dollar anyone offers you for your mother's pearls, turn it over, read the bottom, and believe what it tells you. What everyone recognizes is almost never the thing worth the most, because the whole world already has one. I'll see you at the next table.